how long haven't you used English in your everyday life?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all. People say that French are rude, but I'm a rude person. Try to pronounce with me.
Okay.
Putain de merde, fichier.
That was the era that we didn't have any of the social media.
Don't age me much. And I have a big bag with every document, everything. My birth certificate. You need to date someone in that language. At the beginning, we said, okay, just stay and then let's see. And then now it's more than 20 years. I wanted to talk about philosophy of love because everyone can love, everyone know about love, but you just don't take time to think about it. My tip is to find your interest. I said, oh, I love erotic books. Yeah, it's for education that I did. Yeah.
Okay, we are taking you to France today. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค
สวัสดีครับเจ๊ป้องครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
If it's okay with you, that's what I'll be calling you, เจ๊ป้อง
It's okay. Everyone call me that.
Right, because you're known from the name Jaepong already, right? Okay, so of course we've got Jaepong from Klai Ban today, and so thank you so much for joining us on Comedy today.
I'm happy to join.
Yeah, this is something that you are not used to doing, I guess. I mean, having to speak English as opposed to French because you speak French all the time. You live in France, right? Yeah, so this is kind of new for you too, right?
It's a challenge.
It's
yes.
a challenge, right? Okay, so how long haven't you used English in your everyday life?
Not at all.
Not at all. Like since you left school, basically.
Because when I finished high school, I went to Akson Jula, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it's really difficult English there, so I just stopped it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that I'm a good material for your program because my English level is just like high school level.
I see.
Oh.
Yeah, and yet you're here. Like,
and speak in English.
Yeah, open to having to speak English. So this is like very encouraging for a lot of people too.
Yeah. If I can do, everyone can do.
Oh yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Jaepong, for being here. And of course, apart from being a superstar on Klai Ban channel, like Pifa's channel, what do you do? Like, tell us about your job.
Yeah, it's a
France.
boring job.
It's a boring job.
It's a boring job.
Okay, how boring can it get?
I work as a stone planner.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
No.
Okay, it's very easy. I work with a gem supplier, and I buy diamonds. I buy color stones, and to feed the production team.
I see.
Yeah.
So the title of the job is
Stone planner. So it's
very unique. I haven't heard about like that position of job
Really?
before. Yeah, stone planner.
Yeah, it's in a supply chain.
I see.
So you need to do like a sales forecast.
Okay.
You need to calculate how many stones do you need per month,
Okay.
per year, and how much.
I see. So-
Because you need to ask the money to the company.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. I know that it's not interesting, but
I think it's very interesting in the sense of this is not like a typical job that you can find everywhere.
really, because I've been working in this job for almost 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah, but I love stones. I love to
Right.
see diamonds. I love beautiful things
Yeah.
because I don't have.
So you want to surround yourself with
but
like
other things beautiful. Yes.
nice things, precious things, like
Yeah.
precious stones, right? Okay, yeah. And you're a superstar on Klai Ban. When I say superstar, I mean like you appeared on like multiple episodes. Like if you search Jaepong Klai Ban on YouTube, like you'll come up with like dozens of episodes,
Yeah.
like gaining multi-millions of views too. Yeah, and people love you on Klai
thank
Ban.
you.
Yeah,
I
us
hope so.
included.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So today we are going to be talking everything French then because
In French?
no, not in French because well I went I took like 3 years of like French because I was in the French program in high school too, but that was a long time ago. Yeah.
But obviously you prefer English.
Yes. Yeah. But French It's such a beautiful language, right? Yeah, and I guess that's one of many reasons that you fell in love with the language too, because it sounds so beautiful.
Wow, that is good. That is good introduction.
Right, right. Okay, so you landed in Paris in the year 2001, so like 25 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the era that didn't have any of the social media. We didn't have Line, we didn't have like Facebook, nothing. So do you still remember your first week or month in France?
Yes, because
Okay.
it's like it's kind of first time that I live away from my home from Thailand.
Right.
And it's really difficult because I was 21 years old.
Okay.
So I'm too young.
Right.
And I still see myself with a pile of documents because France is the country of paperwork.
Ah, okay. That's what I heard too.
Yeah,
Right.
and I have a big bag with every document because at that time you don't have internet, so you don't have the list of the documents
Right.
that they need. So you have to prepare yourself for any kind of documents.
Right.
Yeah.
So you brought everything with you.
Everything, my birth certificate and everything, really everything. And
Yeah.
but the thing is that they were not get used to foreign students.
Oh, okay. At the time, right?
At that time.
Okay.
For example, if I want to have a resident permit, I needed to have a bank account.
Okay.
And then when I went to the bank, they asked me for resident permit. So
So that's catch 22. So ไก่กับไข่
ใช่
Right. Okay.
Just talk to each other before asking me.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So it's very difficult.
But
yeah.
that's what you have to like go through.
Yes.
Because at the time you were certain that you would like stay there, like to work and for a long term, right?
Not really, because at the beginning I planned to do just a PhD. So
okay.
it could be 6 years or 7 years.
Still, it was such a long time. So you
Really?
need-
Because 6 years, nothing.
I know because you've been living there for like almost like 30 years, right? 25 years.
25 years.
25
Yeah,
years, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Don't age me much.
บวกไป5นี่เยอะเหมือนกันนะ okay all right 25 years yeah so 25 years in France so you must be super fluent now right
I will say yes, but
Yeah.
I think that when I was student, my French may be a little bit better than now because when you work, I mean, you use just only the email. Okay, just send me the
see.
price.
Right, right.
But when you were a student, you talk like I was studying literature.
Right.
So you need to talk about Jean-Paul Sartre. You need to talk about something really complicated.
yeah
But now
you
just
wrote essay in French
yes,
right? Yeah
and now you just lead. Please send me back your quotation.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's my life.
Right,
That's
right.
all French I got now.
it's like narrowed down to
Yes,
what
yes.
you really needed
Yeah.
to use in work
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
but when you hang out with French people like French friends and your husband and like everybody else right so you don't get to talk and like,
yeah, I think it's fine because
Right.
people say that French are rude, but I'm a rude person, so
yeah so you
I
got
didn't
along
need
well
so much effort to get along with them.
right okay we'll be talking about the preconception of French people later in the
Okay.
episode but for now one word or more this is the segment where we get to know you through your own word right so first of all can you give me one most beautiful word in French
In French,
yeah, because, well, French is known for being the most beautiful language in the world.
everyone say that French is a beautiful language. And when I was student,
Yeah.
this is the question of phonetics class.
Okay.
The teacher asks, if someone asks you why French is beautiful, how can you explain it in a term of phonetics?
Ooh.
Very
Okay.
interesting. So French is beautiful because they don't have the stress on word. but they have the stress on sentence. So
okay.
it's the same way as a music. So that's why it sounds beautiful.
Okay. So the intonation and the rhythm
yeah,
of the
it's
of
the whole
sentence.
thing,
I see.
it's like in music.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
And the word that I will choose, I will say shoo shoo.
Shoo-shoo?
Yeah, you know this
No,
word.
no.
Shoo shoo.
What does it mean?
Shoo means cabbage, the
Cabbage?
vegetable.
Okay.
And if you say shoo shoo, it doesn't mean to to
Cabbages,
cabbage.
2 cabbages.
Yeah,
Okay.
shoo shoo is mean darling, sweetheart.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, and my
Is that-
husband call me shoo shoo.
Ah,
So
I was
that's why I
gonna
love
ask.
this word.
So shoo-shoo,
Shoo-shoo.
like term of endearment.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think that it has a relaxing sound.
Right.
You know, shoo shoo.
Yeah.
It's very
Right.
very
Not choo-choo,
sweet.
right?
Not choo shoo. Yeah, choo shoo in Thai is another way. Yeah.
Right. But shoo-shoo, when you
Shoo-shoo.
spoken in French, it's so nice to
It's
hear.
very nice to hear. Yeah.
Right.
And at home, if my husband call me by my name, Shamanan, it means that I do something wrong.
You're in trouble.
yeah. So
So-
shoo shoo is mean okay, everything fine.
But not by your first name.
Yeah, not really. My first
Right.
name Shamanan. No.
Okay. And is that the word that you use to call your husband too?
Yeah, I call him shoo shoo as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other words that like people in relationship call each other besides shoo-shoo?
Shoo-shoo.
Okay. Can you give me an
Shoo-shoo,
example?
Otherwise, I try to think other.
I've heard like
the young-
mon chéri, ma chérie, something
yeah, but
like
it's
that.
really
Formal,
cinematic.
right? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
okay.
everyone know, oh mon chéri.
Right.
Yeah. Ah mon cœur, my heart.
Ooh, okay.
If you like
is
a
that-
sweet girl, you call your husband mon cœur.
Oh, okay.
Fais ci, fais ça, mon cœur.
My heart.
My heart.
Aw,
This, really
okay.
beautiful. But for me, it's really, it's too much.
Too cringy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like too much.
Shoo-shoo is way
Shoo-shoo
better.
is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Can you give me one French slang word that you would use as a curse when things go wrong?
Can I say anything in this program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can't wait.
Okay, I think that everyone know from Emily in Paris, you know.
Yeah.
The first one, everyone know merde.
Ah,
Try to pronounce it.
Magda.
Merde.
Magda.
Okay, this is the
Okay.
common. Or putain.
Huh?
Putain.
Putain.
Putain is mean hooker. It's like
Okay.
when you're not happy, it's like putain.
Ah.
But I think I say more often to fichier.
Fishy?
Fichier.
Fichier.
Voilà. Fichier.
Fishy.
Voilà. Fichier.
Fichier.
Literally, it means it makes me poop. You know, and it's like something go wrong. Like today it rains. You said,
Right.
oh, fishy.
Okay.
When you forgot umbrella. But if you feel really pissed off, you can combine. You're like, merde, fishy. And if you reach your absolute limit, you can use them together.
Like the highest
Okay,
level.
try
of-
to pronounce with me.
Okay.
Putain de merde, fichier.
Putain de merde, fichier.
Exactly. So it's like if you reach your limit, it's like, so you use everything together.
Yeah, the big combination of like
Again,
cursing.
please.
Putain merde, fichier.
Putain de merde.
Putain de merde,
Fichier.
fichier.
Exactly. I'm very happy to teach this.
So people who know French right now are wincing like in front of.
very rude. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's,
very rude.
Actually, it's very rude. But
Okay.
you know,
Yeah. So what would be the English equivalence of this swearing?
literally, it means like hooker of shit. You piss me off.
Okay. Oh, very good. Very good.
You know,
Yeah. It's a,
hooker is a really bad word. You know,
Okay,
and
yeah.
you don't normal hooker, but it's a hooker of shit. So it's like under.
right. Oh, okay. We are learning something in French today, guys. Very useful. Okay, but
I don't know in which situation, but
yeah.
I hope not.
No, use it with like extreme caution.
Yeah, but I just said
Okay,
in the
don't.
office.
Right. Just use it with your friends, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
Or just swear out loud.
yeah. Even in the morning when you see email, it's fish shit to start your day and
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice to know. But whether you want to use it or not, or you want to adopt it, is up to you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. How about one French word that has no real translation in Thai?
I will pick la flamme.
La flamme. Okay.
The complete word is avoir la flamme.
Avoir la flamme.
La flamme is like a laziness.
Okay.
But it a little bit deeper than that.
Okay.
It's just like your body and your mind agree to take no action. So it's like a status of mind, like, because when a friend said that, j'ai la flamme, it means don't argue, don't convince me anything. I just want to lay down and do nothing.
Like shut down.
Yeah, it's a shutdown. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's deeper than laziness. It's not just like I'm lazy today, but it's like no argument. I do nothing.
Right. Avoir la flamme.
Yeah, j'ai la flamme.
Je la flamme.
Yeah, j'ai la flamme.
Okay. So basically, it means you want to shut down. You want
Yeah.
no. Okay. All right.
It's not depression. It's just like j'ai la flamme. But tomorrow I will become
Okay.
festive
All
again.
right.
I will do.
Okay.
Yes.
But for now, I'm shutting down.
Yes.
I'm not talking to you anymore.
I don't know. Maybe in Thai you have it. No.
I'm not sure. Yeah, but it's.
In Thai?
I like it when you describe it as like your body and mind agrees to like.
Yeah, but it's true because I don't understand this word until like you are not tired,
Right.
physically.
Right.
But you just like today it's nothing. Nothing is the good thing for today.
Okay.
So it's I
J'ai la flamme.
I will pick this word.
Okay.
La flamme, yes.
Yeah, but if you can think of any Thai expression that would match these feelings that he's describing, maybe you can let us know in the comment.
Yeah, please.
มีไหมภาษาไทยอาจจะมีก็ได้
I'm curious.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One thing about Paris that is so overrated right now. Yeah.
Without hesitation, Mona Lisa.
Really?
Yeah, because
Okay.
2 years ago, I went to the Louvre with friends visiting Paris.
Right.
And the painting Mona Lisa was overprotected.
Right. Right.
So you need to stay far back from the painting.
Right.
How can you appreciate the painting if you cannot see the detail?
Yeah. And the painting is like very, very small to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with the queue, you cannot stay long. Yeah. And I think that now it's become overrated. Especially, Mona Lisa was in the room where they display all Venetian painters there. And you have the biggest painting called Lenos de Cana. It's very big one, but no one pay attention to it.
Really?
It's
Because
very-
everybody is paying attention to Mona Lisa.
So I think that now Mona Lisa has become like a box to check.
Okay.
The tourists just come, take a selfie,
Right.
check, and that's all. And I post on my story, and it's done. Yeah, so I think that it's overrated.
Yeah. Okay. And so, on the contrary, what in Paris that you think is like underrated? People should know more about this.
Oh, the one thing that I love in Paris is a walking tour.
The walking tour?
Yeah, the walking tour is it's like a new concept, I think, because Paris is very rich in history. The better way to visiting Paris is just walking around and let the city tells you its story. Wow, it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Sometimes I told myself that I'm so lucky to live in this city. It's very beautiful,
Yeah.
And I love walking tour because sometimes I went on a walking tour in the neighborhood of near my office, and there is a street called Rue de l'Arbre Sec, which means in English dry tree.
Dry tree?
Yes.
Okay.
With a million beautiful words. Why anyone name a street dry tree?
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah, looks too depressing.
hideous name.
Yeah.
And okay, but it's not far from my office. But the guy explained me that in the Middle Ages, the dry tree refers to wooden gallows, that you hang a criminal
Oh, okay.
So this street used to be the place that the criminal were punished in public.
Oh, okay.
So when I
there's-
know about this story, I said, "Wow, this street
Yeah.
has something."
yeah, such history, right?
Yeah. So it's just not an ugly name, you know. So that, oh, there's something. So I
Yeah.
think that a walking tour, if you want to visit Paris, take a walking tour, one or two. You know, I
Yeah.
think that this is just an example, but
Right.
I'm sure Paris has other story to
a
explore.
lot to offer.
Yeah.
Besides Mona Lisa.
Yes.
Or all the tourist attraction that we already know of.
Yeah, but if you go for the first time,
Yeah.
sure, you need to go for
Yeah.
cliche,
Check the boxes.
Louvre,
Right.
La Tour Eiffel. Yeah, but it's normal. I understand. But
Yeah.
if you have time, just take some walking tour and yeah.
Yeah, so nice. Great advice. Okay, all right. The next time you're in France or you're in Paris, take a walking tour.
Yes, please.
Okay, give me one sentence your parents said to you when you told them that, okay, I'll be living in France from now on.
I don't think that I told to my parents properly.
Really?
You know, I don't.
It
think
just
that-
happened.
Yeah, it just happened. But I told my mom that I had stopped my PhD because at the beginning I went to France to go until PhD and then go back to be a lecturer somewhere in Thailand.
Okay.
You know, and then I said, oh, you know, choosing between having a husband and having a PhD, you know, it's very easy decision to
Yeah,
make.
easy choice.
Yeah, easy
Right.
choice.
Okay.
So I
Right.
told my mom, I stopped my PhD and then I will find another master degrees to find a job here. So I mean indirectly it means that I don't want to go back in
Right.
Thailand. But
Okay.
but she just say it's your life.
Okay.
Yeah, she always supported my decision.
Okay, you're one of the fortunate ones that
Really?
they're always like like supportive,
Supportive,
of
yeah.
your future. Like no matter what you do or choose for yourself, they'll be okay with it, right?
Yeah, but it's a basic from parents. Like that the basic thing that you expect from parents.
Yeah. Okay, so they're fine with
they're
whatever
fine.
choice that you
Yeah,
choose for
yeah.
yourself. Okay, all right. Okay, a French habit that you fully and proudly adopted from คุณมานูครับ
Proudly, I don't know if proudly, but
no.
the one habit that we have at home is like always having bottles of wine at home. It's
okay.
very
it's
useful.
such a French thing, right?
I don't know it's French because in
it's
Thailand I have whiskey. I have many bottles of bad things in my apartment in Bangkok
So
too.
many kind of alcohol.
Maybe it's the habit that I have from France, but always have a bottle of wine at home because
Right.
you know I think it's cultural thing.
Yeah.
When you go to the party or when you get invited for a dinner, you have to go with a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Or after work and you feel like it's a tiring day, a glass of wine can help and can solve everything.
Yeah. Do you still remember like the first time that you get to try like wine in France?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You know, because when I came from Thailand, everyone talk about Bordeaux wine. I said I need to drink Bordeaux, but I think that I get allergic.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't know about that before.
I became red.
Okay.
But when the wine is good, I force myself, and I became blue. What? Yeah, I became blue, but
Okay.
literally. And I said, wow, it's very dangerous.
Yeah. You need to be hospitalized if you're blue from drinking wine, right?
But it's okay, just some paracetamol and.
Really?
and
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And then I said, oh, maybe I'm not a wine person. And then one day we went for a birthday party in Burgundy. And then again wine. And then I drink, but it's the wine from Burgundy, right?
Okay. So it's different kind of
The
wine.
different kind of wine. And then I
see.
drink. Okay, I finished one bottle. I didn't get red.
One bottle?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
And then after that, I said, oh, and now I realize that there are type of wine for Asian. If anyone who has, I don't know what you call in English,
Allergy?
Yeah, when it's happened to many Asian. When you drink, you get red.
Yeah. Me the same way.
You too.
Yeah.
Okay, try Burgundy wine from Burgundy. Because Bordeaux wine they got tannin. in English,
Like tannin?
tannin.
I'm not sure,
But
but
it's kind of when you drink wine and it tastes like sanim.
okay. I've heard about that, but
Yeah,
I'm not the
but
expert on the
Burgundy
subject.
they don't have that.
I see.
Yeah,
So
so
that's the thing that you're allergic to.
I discovered this. So I said, okay, now
Okay.
I know what kind of wine
Yeah.
I can drink.
Okay. So besides Burgundy, right? What are the kinds of wine that you can drink?
From Italy, Chianti.
Ah,
So
okay.
now I remember the name of the wine that I can drink.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So you can be very cultured now because
Yeah, now it's like
Yeah.
I know my body.
Yeah,
This
because
is a
it would be so
discovery.
sad if you are living in France and you cannot have any kind of wine at all. That would be like such a shame, right?
Yeah, but you know that the thing changed because now young people they drink less. You know,
Okay.
like my niece, she is 18 years old.
No
She
drink?
doesn't drink wine.
Okay. So that's
or
not the
alcohol.
part of their culture anymore.
We try to. We said, oh, just taste it because you can. Yeah.
You try to talk your niece into drinking wine?
Because you cannot eat cheese without wine.
Oh, okay.
You know.
All right, okay.
It's like you eat Thai food without spice. Yeah. Oh, I think no, I sound like alcoholic. No,
You need to get drunk now.
you need to drink.
Okay, but it's a culture thing. I
It's
can
culture
understand
thing,
that.
and I study
Right.
culture, so
Okay.
I
So-
need to force myself.
Yeah, what do they choose to drink then? Like if they're not drinking wine, what do they drink these days?
I don't know. I think that they're like a syrup or something. I don't know.
Probably some soda, so some น้ำอัดลม or something like
Yes,
that.
I think so.
Okay.
But maybe she will change.
Yeah. Okay. So that's something that you adopted from living with a French guy,
French husband.
Emmanuel, right? So what? For how long have you been together?
I'm bad at math. We met in 1999.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 26 years, 27 years.
Yeah, but I mean, at the beginning it was not that serious. But we moved in together in 2003, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very long time. They're living together.
Yeah.
Okay.
We knew each other for like.
Yeah. And you speak to each other in French, of course.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's how you practice your French.
Yes.
ต้องทำหน้าเจ้าเล่ห์อย่างนั้นเลยเหรอ
This is a good way,
Sure.
Sometimes people joke that, oh, if you want to learn a language, you need to find someone.
Yeah.
You need to date someone in that language. But it's true because
It's true, right?
you make an effort with pleasure.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're not forcing yourself. You are like willingly trying to
Yes.
get better in order to like.
I love the word willingly.
Right, because as opposed to being in class that you're forced to like
Yeah.
read textbook and like yeah
Yes.
now nobody tell you to, but yeah, you just do it on your own.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Tell me one dream that you used to have when you were young.
Oh, I think that is, as I said previously, I was dreaming of being a lecturer somewhere in Bangkok or in Chiang Mai.
Okay.
My parents even bought me a land in Chiang Mai because we spent many of school breaks in Chiang Mai.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But 2 years ago, with the Faros team, we had an event called Lecture Lake. I don't know if you follow this. It's kind of it's like asking people to go back to school.
Oh, okay.
And I found myself at Chiang Mai University teaching French philosophy at Chiang Mai University.
I see.
So sometimes
Yeah.
your dream comes true when
Yeah,
you
in
stop
a way,
dreaming.
right? You have
Yeah.
achieved what you had like
Yeah.
dream of becoming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you have fun teaching?
A lot. I love, yeah.
Right.
I feel intelligent when you teach, Yeah.
And do you want to do more? Like, do you want to teach more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But if I have time, because now a lot of project and a lot
Yeah,
of things.
yeah.
But every year I yeah, I participate. I
Right.
as a guest. You know, for example, this last year, I attend to classes of a friend of mine at Chiang Mai University talking about literature and philosophy or something.
Right,
So it's
right.
really
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. And then you're a good teacher, you're a great storyteller. And in order to teach, you don't have to be in front of the class, right? You can do it online. You can do it in videos like you're already doing right now.
I try to. I
Right.
try
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Yeah, I appreciate whenever or whatever you have to teach us and you can make it fun. Yeah, I think that's so important too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Okay. How about a French historical figure that you would like to have dinner with?
I don't know if you know Madame de Pompadour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Familiar with her
Wow.
name. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I
Madame de
think that I
Pompadour.
will choose to have dinner with her.
Okay.
She is the most beloved mistress of Louis XV, Louis XV.
15.
Yes, so it's a historical figure from 18th century.
Yeah.
And
And what is so special about her that you want
Okay, because she had a big influence on politics and on intellectual scene. You know, because at that time, many thinkers, many philosophers did many heavy critics of the king and the church. So they risk going to jail. But she is the one who successfully convinced the king not to charge them. So I appreciate that.
to? Right.
And-
so giving people the freedom of
Yeah, because I
Speech
believe
and-
in freedom of speech. And, you know, she always known as the one who transformed Versailles into Maison of the Debauchery.
all right.
In English,
so
you said-
where's
you said
that?
that.
The palace.
Yeah.
Okay. And she transformed that into what?
Maison of Debauchery.
Maison. Okay.
Debauchery, you know, like have an orgy, like have a party, have that kind of thing. So I think that if I had a dinner with her, it should be fun. It should be fun. Yes.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
she's got a lot of juicy, hot stories to tell.
Yeah,
Right.
because in the history, someone said that she told to Louis XV that you are not king anymore in this palace in the dinner, so everyone is equals, you know, and we will have a dinner like friends. Sorry, like friends and
Yeah.
So I love the idea of the party.
Right,
yes.
right. Yeah. She sounds excellent. She sounds like someone that you really want to talk to.
Yeah, smart and bitchy. I really love that.
Yeah, great combination. Smart and bitchy.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So obviously you like French is your domain and you took French since high school, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
was that only choice of yours that okay, you knew that okay, this is what I'm going for?
Not really, because you know, I mean, when we are young, we don't know what we're gonna do, right?
Right, right.
But the thing is that 30 years ago, back then in Thailand, when you are bad at maths, you don't have many options.
No,
You know, at my high school at that time, I had only two choices: either German or French. You know.
I knew that too well because that's what happened to me too. I'm bad and I hate math. So yeah,
The same
the
destiny.
same way, same destination. So we only have to pick either French or German, right?
So when I took a look on these only two options, you know, I didn't know anything about Germany, but I knew Jean-Paul Gaultier, I knew La Tour Eiffel, so I said, okay, I will choose French.
Okay,
Then,
at least some relation to something that I already know.
yeah.
Okay.
So I said, okay, French should be
Okay.
fine, and then it seemed that I did it well.
Yeah.
So I kept going. Yeah.
You found out right away that you had the talent for the language.
Maybe not talent, but I think that it's okay. I think
Okay.
that I can do it.
Yeah.
But I think that the good thing is that when I was at university, the teacher there, they were so passionate.
Oh, okay.
They were so passionate about what they taught, you know. And I think that inspired me and other students, I think. And I think that it's very important because, you know, when you give inspiration to someone and when you are not there, the inspiration will be there, and that person will keep going to learn more and more and more. And I think
Right.
that is the key to everything.
Sure.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But to get A's in the classrooms is one thing, but to be good enough to move to France and to study or to work there is another thing. So how do you practice yourself or improve yourself to that point where you can like comfortably live and work in France?
About the language, we need to understand one thing that knowing a language is a skill. So it's skill like swimming, dancing. Because when you start learning English, you learn tenses, you learn how to use preposition, and when you are at university, you study the same thing, you learn the same thing, you learn again present tense, past tense again. It because it's a skill, you need to practice, you need to do the same thing until it's become natural. I used to have a bad habit of learning a language, like others Thai student. I think I have a list of words and I try to remember it by heart. But I think that it's not good because it's not natural. You need to read the books. You see 4 times, 5 times the word, you remember it, and it's more natural, And
Because you understand the
yes,
words.
in the context.
In the context.
It's very important, And I think that if you want to practice a language,
any language at all, right?
you need to practice. You need to read more and more. You need to, you need to express yourself in that language.
Yeah.
So it means that you need to invest your time. It's not just only reading the grammar and you said, okay, I understand how to use present perfect tense. But
Yeah.
when it comes to conversation, you cannot express because it's a skill. So I think that my tip is to find your interest. For example, I love reading a history book. So I started to read a history book for children. So the times pass very quickly when you practice with something in your interest.
Yeah. Just do something that you love, but in
Yeah.
that language that is your go language.
Yes, and I remember that before going to France, I took a French course in Switzerland.
Ooh.
And the first class, the teacher asked us to find a book based on our interest.
Ooh,
Yeah.
sounds so much fun.
Yeah, so I said that, okay, I know that you can speak French, you have some level of French, but I want to start with your interest. So today after class, just go to grab a book based on your interest.
Wow.
So it's like, that is the key.
It sounds very simple,
Yeah,
right?
it's very simple, but for me
it
it's
would
not
work.
simple.
No?
Because,
Okay. What
because-
book did you get?
Oh. Because I study literature, so we get used to read the books that even in your interest.
Okay.
And then I said, wow, what is my interest? And then, I said, oh, I love erotic books. So
That's your love. Like,
yeah, so I
you
went
go
to
erotic.
So I went to sex shop in Switzerland, in Freiburg, and
Okay.
it's a small town.
Okay.
Freiburg is a small town and very conservative. At that university,
Right.
you can write your thesis in Latin to show that how conservative it is.
Wow.
So I went to buy some erotic books at sex shop, and that's wow, I learned a lot of things. And I finished my books like in 1 hour or something. So it worked.
See?
Yeah.
That proves it.
Yeah.
So in the name of education, this is what
Yeah,
you...
it's for education that I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but but the thing is that I forgot one thing.
What?
Because the next day, the teacher asked to make a reading reviews.
So you have to like go in front of the class and tell people?
I can't. So I said, oh, and my name is Sherman, so it starts with C.
Oh, okay.
So I was,
at the very beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning I said, okay, I want everyone to share what kind of book and what you learned from the book. And I said, how can I gonna talk about my books? But Luckily, because I study literature, so I read a lot of books. And then,
Oh, okay. So you talk
so I
about
picked
something
up
else?
Something else.
Ah,
Yes, I said, I read Le Petit Prince, The Little Prince. But it's a very bad choice because, Le Petit Prince is the most translated book.
right. Yeah.
And he said, "How comes you study literature and you never read Le Petit Prince?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, because my specialty is the 18th century."
Okay. All right.
So I tried to find the way out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Even though not very impressive in the eyes of the teacher.
No,
but
because he didn't seem convinced that I read Le Petit Prince. Yeah,
right,
no.
right. But it was great that you chose to go for something that you really like are interested in. Yeah, and well, if it's sex stuff where you get that knowledge, or if it's like erotica that you get that knowledge from, just go for it.
Go for your interest. It's for educational purpose.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's what you have to do in order to master the language, right? So well, in for someone who studies English and learn English, one of their goal, I think, it's to be able to speak like a native speaker, right? So for someone who study French, right, is that their goal as well? That you need to sound exactly like the native?
Not my purpose. Not my goal.
Right.
No, not really, because I think that if I can communicate, it's fine.
I see.
I think it's fine.
Okay. But for someone who has to live and work in France, do you have like problem people discriminating against you just because you don't sound like them, like your French is not native like? Has that ever been the problem at all?
For me, no. I
No?
think maybe I'm lucky. I've never experienced that,
Okay.
And I think we need to separate between the accent and the pronunciation.
Right.
I think that the most important is to pronounce correctly. That's all. But I think that the accent is very difficult to change. You can. I think you can with a lot of practices, but
Right.
it's very hard. And I didn't choose to
No.
spend the time. But I think
Okay.
that you need to pronounce correctly.
Okay.
And the French is very attached to the grammar. So
I see.
like if you use the wrong tense, because in English if you use the wrong tense, maybe it's fine or something.
Okay.
And French will react like a
Okay. So it's a big deal for them if you use wrong tenses.
yeah. But I think they place importance on writing.
Really?
Yeah, the writing is very important because they always believe that writing is show how smart you are.
Okay. So no problem. We have ChatGPT for that right now, right?
Now, yeah,
but
at
not
that
back
time-
then. Not back then. Okay.
yeah,
So you
it's
have
not.
to make sure that your writing is
I need
on
to
point.
I need to reread, to check, to revise my email again and again. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. But just to speak. So I was wondering how many are there a lot of like accents in French as well as like in English? Because like in America alone, there are a lot of like dialects and accents, right? So Southern accent, like New York accent, California accent, and worldwide there's like Australian, there's British. So there are a lot of accents in English. But is it the same way in French too?
I not really. They have a South accent, but you can understand.
Okay.
It's not really big difference. Because it's really the accent,
Okay.
not as in English. Because in
see.
English, the sometimes pronunciation is different.
Right.
But in French, pronunciation is the same.
Like more or less. Very understandable.
It's like, for example, in the South they will say for the rose. I mean, in French we pronounce rose. Not is the sound O, but in the South they said rose. So there is the sound
see.
O. So it's not that.
You can still guess.
Yeah, you can guess.
I
yeah.
see, okay.
I think English is more difficult, because
Yeah.
sometimes I remember that the first time when I went to London, I didn't understand,
Yeah.
because like the Londonian they have. I mean,
Like
I won't
their
say
way of-
weird way, yeah, but a way to,
Yeah.
they try to make conversation. But when you buy a thing, you just expect, okay, thank you very much, and that's all. But
Yeah.
but they try to speak to you, talk to you, and then
Yeah.
no.
Yes, because we are not familiar with
No.
the way they talk. So yeah, it could be very tricky or hard for us to understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
ending sentence with my love. My love is wow. I'm your love. Thank you, my
Shoo-shoo,
love.
shoo-shoo. Okay, so I want to talk to you more about the what's going on right now in France in terms of like culture for a change. For example, K-pop is so like worldwide, right? It's so famous, and we used to have like J-pop. Right now is C-pop from China, and also T-pop is like on the rise right now too. Is there such a thing as F-pop, like French pop? No,
No,
none.
because I think that they are not into fandom culture.
No, no.
Idol culture. No,
I see.
There is a TV program. This may be equivalent of a K-pop show. Try to
see.
find an idol,
Like reality.
yeah, to
like produce
find
101 stuff like that.
yeah, can sing, can dance, and really beautiful, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But I don't think it works because in the long run, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because maybe they have some concert after the TV program.
Yeah.
But after that, we didn't hear from them anymore.
I see.
Yes, because I think that French is still very
Traditional.
traditional
In terms of like-
about singer they consider singer as an artist. They don't appear, they make a appearance on, they don't appear much on advertisement,
I see. Okay.
because it's like they want to preserve artist soul or something,
Okay.
yeah. I think it's not like, it's not like in Asia, something, a singer can be on
Yeah.
on machine,
Like they're
watching
everywhere.
machine advertisement. What's it, the connection?
Okay.
Why
see.
and
So they treat their artists like real artists.
artists? Yeah, I think that
Okay.
they want to preserve this side of.
I see. So the most famous artist or group in France are not like boy bands and girl groups.
No,
never.
It can happen, but it's just not.
For a short period of time.
Yeah, it
not-
doesn't long.
Okay.
It doesn't long.
I see. So let's talk about the like new generation of like French people, like Gen Z of like France or French. So what are they like?
It's not my generation. So
No. Okay.
I don't know if I'm the good person or I'm the right person to talk about this, because
Okay.
sometimes when my nephew and my niece make us listen their playlist, I don't know what.
How old are they? Are they Gen Z or
My nephew is
Alpha?
15 years old, and
Oh,
my
okay. So
niece is
Alpha.
it's Alpha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
And my
like-
niece is 18 years old.
Okay, that's Gen Z.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's like international song. They listen to international song now,
Okay.
but
Like songs from the US, the UK?
yeah, and a little bit from K-pop.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
a little bit, yeah. But I think that French, they love electro. Yeah.
okay.
So when you listen to pop music, French pop music, there will be a little bit of electro. Yeah. But the good thing is you are interested in this. In France, they have a label called La Nouvelle Scène. You can type on your streaming platform. It's to show this is the pop culture at the moment.
Yeah, like the new way of
Yeah.
like music right now.
Yes. So you will have everything. You will have pop music in the same song. I mean, you have a pop music. You have rap, and you have a little bit electro.
Okay.
But I think that one thing that French pop is different from US pop. I think they still put importance on lyrics and vocals. Because they love storytelling. So even in pop music, it's a story. You know.
Okay.
I don't know if you watch Olympics ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you understand, you know, even Aya Nakamura, even the song is very modern, but it tells story. Even
Right,
it's a
right. Yeah.
it's a shitty story, but it's you have a storyline. So
Right,
they love to understand the story behind the music.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So everything is still very crafted and
Yeah, comparing to
Right.
other
Right.
other kind of pop.
Okay. So tell us what is the biggest trend right now for like new generation? For example, like what kind of career or job that people want to have like as a number one or top five right now in France?
I don't think that they give importance to position, but you know they give importance to work condition because there is a job a website for looking for a job, and I saw an announcement. They put after work party as a perk.
Okay.
So I said, yeah, you have party. I need money. I don't have I don't need money. I don't need party. I need money, you know.
Right.
But I think that Gen Z now they are more sensitive to like work conditions, you know.
Okay, like benefits.
Yes.
Or work condition.
Yeah, and I think, for example, at work, they don't stay in one position for long time for long.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah. So what I observe is that you have project manager everywhere. I think it's the same in Thailand.
Yeah.
I think that what does it mean, project manager? You have project everywhere.
Right.
You know, because I think that because as they don't see things in a long term, so when you said it's just for a project, so they feel that it's for a short time, so it's okay. You know.
Yeah. It's changed, and Thailand I think the same way too.
Yeah, everyone works as a project manager.
Right.
So when you said what kind of project,
Yeah.
you know, I think
How about the social media scenes? So if you ask people nowadays, like young people, they like I think 7 out of 10 might say, I want to be a YouTuber or I want to be a TikToker. And I want to work for myself as opposed to like work for big corporation, right? So is it the same way in France too? You notice?
I mean, it depends on social status, you know.
Okay.
I think that in a way they are still really conventional. They are still traditional, you know. Because for example, my niece, she prepare to go to university or to engineer school. So it's still the same as before, you know.
Okay.
But I already heard about young people going to be a TikToker, but it's another group of young people, I think.
I see.
I think that it's the same in Thailand.
Yeah. Because job security is still like a very important thing too. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about like something romantic then, because French are known for being the most romantic people, or like Paris, the most romantic city in the world. So what is the dating culture like? How do people like flirt with each other, or you know, like when they go like have a night out and they like spot someone that they like across the table or like across the room, how do they approach, or what do they do?
I think that okay, everyone said that the French are romantic, and I think it's a myth, you know.
Just a myth?
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
a myth. Yeah. Okay, but I think that they are great storyteller. So maybe that make people think that they are romantic, you know.
Okay.
Because for example, if you are invited for birthday party and you give something to the host, you cannot just give it. You need to tell the story.
Really?
Yeah, for example,
okay.
if I bought a keychain to you, I need, you know, this keychain just remind us our vacation in the south. You remember you forgot the key in the room. We were locked out
Yeah.
or something like this. You need to make a story, and I think that in the term of dating. You need to invent something, invent some story, For example, like last month, my boyfriend asked me to go to dinner, and he picked an Italian restaurant, which is very common there, But I knew that he chose this restaurant because it's not far from our place, It's practical. But he said, "Oh, I think of you because you had to call off your trip to Naples, so this is a bit of Italy that I can give you." Thank you.
Wait a minute. He's being romantic and you roll your eyes at him.
But I know that. Oh, thank you. But I know that it's just 10 minutes by walk, so it's
Yeah.
convenient, so we can get back home easily.
So on the inside, you're rolling your eyes, but you
But
say,
outside,
thank
you need to
so
play,
much. It's how nice of you.
Yeah, I think, oh, thank you very much. Yes, So,
But I love this because they put meaning in everything.
Yeah.
And that's nice, right?
yeah, everything can be romantic. It depends on what kind of story you tell.
Okay. So that's the key and the heart of being a romantic person. You have to
Yes.
tell stories, make it meaningful, and boom, all of a sudden you're a
Yeah.
romantic person.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you want what do you say in English? Approach.
Okay.
If you want to approach someone, you need to prepare a story. Because French they speak a lot and they can speak.
ChatGPT, write me a story.
But it's true,
Yeah.
It's like because French they love talking. They can talk about anything,
Right.
So if like someone stay a little bit introvert or a little bit like too shy and
Right.
it doesn't work, you need to hey, you need to find something,
Yeah.
Because at the beginning I don't know how to talk.
Okay.
Talking is a skill.
Right.
Just you can talk about your class. Oh, I used to visit a manufacturer in the south. This is a ceramic. Oh, you think that it's the handcraft? You need to find something. You need to invent something. I think that's
Right.
It works. Yeah.
It's a skill. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can teach yourself to be better at this, and you can be more romantic if you choose to be. And you and Emmanuel, same way, like the way he deep you.
Oh, it's a long time ago. So I said that it's
Okay.
I think it's
But well, obviously he still got that like very soft side, very sweet side to offer you.
because I'm good at the storytelling.
So you both are good at storytelling and you
Yeah.
use it on each other. Yeah, and so I think that's one of the keys to keep the relationship last, right? Is it a part of it?
It's a magic of belief.
Okay, so give us like more tricks and tips. How do you and Emmanuel stay this long in a relationship and be well successful because you are married now, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think that I have any secret about that.
No?
I think that it's maybe we are lucky because but the thing is that we started to move in when we were very young because when I met him I was 20 and he was 22 23
Right.
so we were young and we didn't know that how we gonna evolve in life
Right.
but apparently we involve in the same way
Yeah.
and sometimes it doesn't happen to other couples so I think sometimes it's a little bit of chance as well.
I see.
Yeah.
So you spend time together, you move in together, so you get to live with each other.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's something that helps you see the future clearer, whether or not you could make this work with this person.
Yeah.
So
But
spending
at the
time
beginning, you I think
You
at
didn't
the
know,
beginning
right?
it was difficult. Yeah, because we were from two different cultures. And he. Yeah, but I think that maybe because both of us we are really sabai.
Right.
We were really chill.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the key.
Yeah. So after 20 plus years, are you more French or is he more Thai now?
I really don't know because what does this mean being French or being Thai, but he can eat spicy, yeah, he can eat spicy. He love cooking, for example.
Wow.
Yeah, because I won't cook for two version. I won't cook two version.
Yeah.
So he need to force himself to be Thai on that part.
Take it or leave it. This is what I make today.
Yes,
Okay.
that's it. And being French for me, I really don't know because I'm happy. I think that maybe being French is you are happy to be there and something, and you can accept the bad side of this culture, because French are sometimes a little bit. French are more aggressive than Thai, for example, and sometimes it's why they need to be like that for any issue, but now it's it doesn't affect on me at all.
Okay.
It's like
You're used to it. You accept it.
you're
Okay.
used to it.
So
I
you
don't know
don't
if
have. So you don't have to become
No.
it. You just have to accept it and understand it.
I think and it's natural, so I didn't feel that I make any effort. So that's why I decided to stay in France,
okay.
because if you need to try to understand, you need to
Yeah.
try to practice something or do something else more. It's not a good sign.
No, wouldn't work in the long run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any big plan for you guys, like you and Emmanuel, together
For retirement, for example.
For retirement, yeah. Have you talked about like 5 years, 10 years down the line that this is what we'll be like doing, or this is where we'll be moving to, or stuff like that?
Not really.
No?
No.
Okay.
We live in the present time. We not. We even our relationship. At the beginning, we said, okay, just stay and then let's see. And then now it's more than 20 years.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it's good because you don't expect. So when it's good, you are happy with it because you are disappointed when you expect. I think.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good advice. All right. And I would like to thank you for this also. So this is the book that you wrote, your book, which the name I like so much. This is one of the first books from Abu Koko.
Yeah, the second or the third one. Yes,
Right.
yes.
And the name is I Feel You.
Yes,
Right?
I feel you because it's about love.
Right.
Yes.
And philo means love.
Love means love. It's
Okay.
from ancient Greek.
Right.
Philia. In English, you use philia, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what made you decide to write this book?
Okay, this is it's a long project, because people said, "Oh, how comes you can write in a short time, But the thing is that during COVID with Faros, we had an idea to make a podcast on philosophy. We did a demo, but it doesn't work.
No.
I hope maybe in the future,
Okay.
we can
Yeah.
work on
Come back
this.
to this.
Work from this project.
Right.
But I already read books. I said, oh, what's a pity. I already read books for
I've
this.
done the work.
Yes.
Yeah. I better use it somehow.
Yeah, so I said, okay, it's fine. And then 2 years ago, we had a lecture leg at Chiang Mai University, and I wanted to talk about philosophy of love. So I read books again about love in a term of philosophy, and I said, wow, there are too many things to talk about.
Right.
So I wouldn't be able to talk about this in 3 hours. So again, I changed the plan, but I already read books.
Yeah. So much material.
Yeah,
I don't know what to.
I have materials,
Yeah.
And then, and then just like that, Faros created Abu Boko, a publishing house. So I said, okay, then finally I can use this.
Yeah.
And I think that I want to show to audience that philosophy can be fun. And sometimes there are some names that when just only hear the name, you said, it's difficult, like philosophy, physics, or mathematics. For
yeah,
example,
yeah.
when you only hear name is oh, and philosophy is one of them. I said no, philosophy is fun and
It's a lot of fun,
because
right?
philosophy is everyday. Is in philosophy you talk about life, you talk about yourself, you talk about everything that you see every day, you know. Like I always compare philosophy to you use philosophy in every second, you know. For example, can you breathe?
Yeah.
Can you?
Right.
You don't even think about breathing.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
But when we talk about philosophy of Buddhism, what they teach you at meditation center, the first thing that they teach you is how to breathe. So they just teach something that you know already, and that what philosophy teach you. Because everyone can love, everyone know about love, but you just don't take time to think about it or to make some distance to see things in another angle, you know. So I think that okay, I will show that it can be fun. It can be fun, yes.
Right.
And the writing is my style. It's like I talk.
Yeah.
I write. I write as
As
speaking.
you talk, as
Yeah.
you speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I know it's going to be fun. There's going to be a fun read because we love when you talk and we love what you talk about always, all the time too. So yeah, I'm going to read this tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So is this available like in any bookstores now or you have to?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, we will not pronounce. We will announce.
Okay.
On Abubogo website. So
Yeah.
please stay tuned.
Okay, so just go to Abubogo website, right, and stay informed about
Yes.
this book and other books from Abubogo also.
Yeah,
All right, so
there are other books.
yeah,
Interesting
from
books.
Pipa too, right?
Far From Home is a cartoon.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have a mystery from Kuka, the things about Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we just make launching during
Like
Farah
launching
Talk.
party or the launching okay. Session.
Section at Farah Talk, and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just waiting for feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you some feedback after finish this.
Okay, so it's good feedback. Just give me. If a bad feedback, keep with you.
Just stay silent.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. So I have a lot of fun and I learned a
too.
lot about you, about French culture, about France, and it's so much fun. And if you want to learn more, of course, go subscribe Tong Pifa, and you can because you will keep coming back to Tong Pifa.
Yeah, I
always
come back to
yeah.
Thailand often, and sometimes people just you stay in France or you stay in Thailand.
Because you have to keep flying back and forth, like 4 times a
Four
year.
times a year, yes.
Okay. So give us one of your comedy then. So your favorite words in French, in Thai, in English, anything that you can give us.
In Thai, in Thai I will pick
Huh?
Yo. I think it's really amazing, because I didn't notice that until that my husband said, oh, in fact, to speak Thai is really easy because you guys always say, on phone. I said, because is very useful. You can say yes by or you can just to express your being annoyed, like,
Yeah.
or maybe some surprise. It's very useful.
Very
word.
versatile.
Yeah, so I said, okay.
Can be used in any situation.
Yeah, so in Thai, I will pick a useful one and wonderful word. Yeah.
Good. I like that.
Yeah.
Anything else in any other languages?
In English, there are a phrase that I learned from a song when I was a teenager. So it's a long time ago. It's the song said that life's a bitch and then you die. Have you heard of
Life's
this
a
song?
bitch and then you die. Is this
It's the soundtrack from Dawson Creek.
Oh, okay. Dawson's Creek, the series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think that at the end they said, "Oh, life's a bitch, and then you die." And you know, since then, I always have this
Like
phrase,
this tune,
yeah,
this phrase.
in my head, and I said that it's true because you know, the worst thing that can happen to you is being dead. But if you are dead, you won't feel anything anymore. So just live, good
Yeah.
or bad. You don't have any choice. So
Yeah.
just live. So I love this. I love this.
I love it
motto,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, life's a bitch and then,
And then
you
you
die.
die. So that's simple, you know. So
Okay.
you know, because the good thing is about doing podcasts is sometimes that Shao Chong just came to me and there's sometimes when I feel down or I feel bad, I listen to your podcast and it helped me, you know, or just before coming here, I was at a coffee shop. There was a girl, there was a Shao Chong there, and she came to me. Oh, I was here because I have to go to police station. It was my bad day, and then when I saw you, now it's a good day for me.
It's
you know?
not that bad anymore.
Yeah. So
Ah,
finally, I
so
think
sweet.
that yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that sometimes we think about good day, bad day, but the good thing is already if you still live, you know. So that
Wow.
is already good.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So-
last but not least, one French word or phrase, please.
Oh, that maybe the word that I say often is like on verra,
What?
on verra,
On verra.
on verra.
On verra.
Yes, this
Okay.
mean we will see.
Ah.
We will see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes, you know, people just want you to do this, do that, and then they want to make like a plan, you know.
Right.
What you're gonna do next month, what you're gonna do this, do that. It's on verra.
On
You know,
verra.
because sometimes people just
So you
the-
don't know now, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll
let's
see.
see why you just, you know, just do what you need to do now. Why you need to plan so much things in advance.
Yeah.
On verra.
On verra.
verra.
I love that too. Three great words from three different languages. Yeah, I have so much fun. Thank you so much for coming once
too.
again. ขอบคุณมากนะครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ